So yeah, we are going to get on the plane. What are we doing on the plane? Why are we going on the plane?
We learned about this in our Ignite group and like about the importance of basically creating a storehouse or a treasure box, if you will, of prophetic words and things spoken over you, whether that's like, a lot of times they're directional in nature, so like the words even from when you were little, like to like keep a record of those, whether it's like a video like this or you journal, or I don't know, put notes on your phone, like a notes app or whatever, but like just important to keep record of those so that you can go back to them and you can remember what God spoke to you, and those will give you power and help you persevere through things when it gets hard, keep you on mission. And so that comes from 1 Timothy 1. And this is Paul talking to Timothy. This command, 1 Timothy 1:18. This command I entrust to you, Timothy, my son, in accordance with the prophecies previously made concerning you, that by them you fight the good fight, keeping faith and a good conscience, which some have rejected and suffered shipwreck in regard to their faith. And then he lists who they're from. Among these are Hymenaeus and Alexander, whom I have handed over to Satan so that they will be taught not to blaspheme. But the point is this command I entrust you, Timothy, my son, in accordance with the prophecies that were previously stated about you and concerning you, that these will help you fight the good fight and will help you keep the faith and help you keep a clear heart and mind and conscience. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Like, the things that are spoken about you from God will help you stand firm and fight, because that's going to happen. Like, you're going to have battle. You're going to have spiritual battle. And use the prophetic words as weapons over you. Like, when those lies start coming at you, because they will, you look back at that record of what God has said about you and you say those things out loud over yourself. Like, that is not true. I reject the lie that I was not called. I reject the lie that I don't have a purpose. And then you say the truth of what you have written down that people have said over your life. So anyway, that's some good stuff right there. Goodbye.
Hey, so Meagan just randomly picked this spot to sit after we kind of found out that we won't be flying on time. Just not having to deal with that. And then we picked this seat right here with one of these little chargers in the middle. And then, I'm just trying to like listen to the Lord. And we sit down here. And some backstory first. We're in this group called Ignite, and one of our dear friends, Audrey Leager, she spoke this word over me that I was kind of like a David, like the worshiper, kind of that mantle of David, like songwriting, just adoring the Lord, like that kind of thing. Like, and I think at the time I was pretty like reticent towards that, just because I don't feel like I'm worthy of that mantle or whatever. So that's always what God is doing with me, is like always like reminding me, like, no, you are. And then like we had a conversation with our friend Ken Love, who's actually over all of the Ignite ministry stuff. Last night, or a few days ago, we had a talk with him, and he said, Leo, you've been working on your tender side, like this lover side of that Davidic mantle, and then, but the Lord is going to bring out your fierce warrior side. And then I just got like really excited. So anyway, I sit down in this seat, and then like I just saw this. I don't know if you can see this or not. Like I didn't even notice it. And then I'm just out here walking around taking some video with the camera, and then I just see that. Like it's little things like that, like little nudges that my heart is awake to. And I think for all of us, like, what are those prophetic words that are spoken over you? What are those things that you need to deposit into your heart? Really try to like internalize and believe, like take the Lord's word for it and believe it. Anything else to add on that?
Well, I'm reminded of something that I've kind of been repeating to a couple of different people that whoever I've been around the last week. And so like this trip for us is basically we're setting aside these next couple of days to really pray and like go kind of on an adventure with God, and just it's kind of like a spiritual retreat. And so one thing that I've been thinking about and really paying attention to is when you set aside time with the Lord, like if you're consecrating time, like if you're doing a fast, or if you're doing like a 40-day prayer thing, or if you're going on a retreat, or if you remember like the old camp days, like going to a church camp even can be this declaration that you're saying to God, like I'm setting aside this time with you. And so you have to pay attention in that time. You have to pay attention to everything that happens and everything that goes on during that consecrated time, because God knows and will honor your consecration of that by meeting with you in that. So you have to pay attention to what happens, what's spoken. It's not like you're obsessing about everything during that time, but it's important to know that when you set that aside with God and say, I want to meet you in this time, that you have to be sure to write things down, to record things, so that you can look back and remember on what, because he's gonna be faithful in meeting you during that time. So like really being aware of what's going on, and like even like you're saying, little things, like
read into it.
Read into it more. I think you should read into it always, but that's just my thing. But especially in times where you're consecrating and saying, like, I want to meet you there. Like if it's a fast, or like coming off of social media for a while, like that's a fast. Going away for a couple of days.
Which is what we're doing.
Spiritual discipline like that, you have to really, and your awareness will already be increased just because you've entered into that place of the Lord. But I've just been thinking a lot about that. So you have to look at all the clues, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And I think one reminder that Ken told us about was to write down or collect these words spoken over you.
Which is from 1 Timothy 1:8, I think.
That's good.
That's where that principle comes from.
To just collect them, have them in a place, because that's not just like human wisdom, like that's actually the wisdom from heaven, prophetically speaking over your life. And just that's what we're going to be working on, is like collecting all of those prophetic words spoken over us, and promises and big things like that, big dreams that God has and people have confirmed. So we'll find it and we'll read it out loud. Just getting blown up by the Lord in this airport right now. I just felt like this was an invitation from the Lord to, as I'm sitting here, King David dogs, since it was so closely in line with some of the prophetic words I'd heard before, and it was an invitation from the Lord just to read the story of David again. So I've got my Bible out, got my journal over here. Guys, I'm just getting blown up by the Lord, and just I'm discovering this is maybe an inheritance passage for me, which means like, I've heard this term, the inheritance passage, that you have certain passages of scripture that belong to you, every single word. Graham Cook was the one that I heard that from, but the Lord kind of spoke to me here and I wrote it down. I'll just read from my journal a little bit, just kind of highlighting some of those parts that are important. But so 1 Samuel 16 verse 1, fill your horn with oil and go. I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have selected a king for myself among his sons, because the Lord had rejected Saul. Verse 7, do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For God sees not as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Verse 12, so he sent and brought him in, David, because he went through all the sons, like, is there any other?
You got any other ones?
Yeah.
The ones out on the hill,
Yep.
feeding the sheep,
Yep.
minding his own business.
Yep. Verse 12, so he sent and brought him in, David. Now he was ruddy with beautiful eyes and a handsome appearance. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. And then I asked the Lord, Lord, what are you saying? And then he says, you know in your heart, deep inside, that I have anointed you. I choose you. You are my beauty. I have called you to start walking in the way of David, who was a prototype of my son Jesus, the Lion of Judah. Become the lion. You will be a king. All because I was listening at a sign, King David, and because it lined up, all because of that. I got that breakthrough just now. Just because I was like wanting to hear from him. And I'm going to start crying if I let it go anymore.
Also, passenger that left some headphones on checkpoint B. Please return to checkpoint B to identifying plane.
I feel like this is going to be an awesome trip because my heart is already so soft. Like, ready to hear from the Lord. So, King David, I want to look at the menu. That would be so funny. To get on the plane, and Meagan just had a point about encounters with God. It's a really cool point that she made. Like, are you saying that every time that you have an encounter with God,
Or God encounters you.
that it's either like a covenant, you see that a lot in scripture, or you have like a command from the Lord, or you have a promise, invitation. It's kind of cool to think about that. Like, every time there's an encounter with the Lord, it's significant, and not to discount those times. Even in the new covenant, when we're just like hanging out here, New Testament Christians. Yep, God Encounters 2020 Corona Chronicles, Colorado Corona Chronicles. We're gonna get there eventually. See you on the mountain.
These years have come and gone. I look back and all along I would not change a thing. Baseball, rock and roll, sunshine, winter, snow, young love, heartbreak, but I found my way. Yeah, I know where I've come from. Colorado days in the summer sun are beating hearts but still young. Those were the times of my life. John Elway, every Sunday, comebacks and heartbreaks. I would not change a thing. Best friends, Super Nintendo, skateboards, didn't really need more. But I found my way. Yeah, I know where I the summer sun. Our beating hearts were still young. Those were the times of my life. And even through the darkest night, I knew that I would be alright. And when I looked up to the sky, I knew you were holding me tight. Colorado days in the summer sun, our beating hearts were still young. Those were the times